Alrighty. And the stream is started. Here we are. There we go. Alrighty, guys. Sorry about all that. We will continue to learn and learn and learn. We shall. So thank you so much for joining us. A little late, but always here on the Dex and Download channel for the House of Holocrons podcast, where we are going to be covering episodes 1, 2, and 3 of the Andor series that just released this last week, or I should say this week.
This week.
On Disney Plus Wednesday. Wednesdays got real good again. I mean, there's a lot of shows out now. There's a lot of good stuff.
There's so many things because we're watching Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah, this winter it has a lot of stuff.
And I'm really excited to continue all of this too. So Andor, spoiler-free review real quick, just for those who want to watch and not get a full spoiler. Let me just say I loved it. I would give the entirety of the 3 episodes like a solid 8 out of 10.
Yep.
And it's a little slow to start in a good way because it's setting up backstory, and then it really ramps up.
I think it was a wise choice to do all 3 at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thing I liked about it most was it's very different from what we've gotten so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good thing. You get too much of the same thing. I mean, like the Book of Boba Fett was really close to the Mandalorian, which was kind of...
It was Mando season 2.5.
Right.
Yeah. And this has a really good feeling of Rogue One. So if you were a fan of Rogue One, you'd pretty much like this. It had a lot different pacing. And the set design is pretty impressive since they didn't use the volume.
Yeah.
So
gorgeous
with that being
sets.
a TV show, with the set design, I thought it was pretty impressive.
Right.
I was also really loving the costuming. Gorgeous costuming.
Right.
The wardrobe, the setting, were really good. I think the wardrobe that impressed me the most was they were able to do something different that fit the setting,
Mm-hmm.
that still fit in Star Wars, but it wasn't like a copy of Tatooine, which we get a lot of time on planets like this.
I really like the primary colors.
Yeah, it was very colorful, which is good, and
a lot of yellows.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense in a factory-ish kind of world.
Well, and so that makes sense for their planet.
To kind of round out like a spoiler-free thing, though, I would really say that one of the big issues with things is that a lot of people are so used to a cinematic universe and to already having backstories written. They're so used to having regurgitated stories that they're not used to it taking time to set up a backstory, to set up a moral conflict, and to set up a entire like ethos, like the city that they started. So that's why, the first 2 episodes are slow. But they're really just, they're setting everything up to continue on. It's really difficult.
Honestly, on its own, I think it's one of the few things that you could actually watch without knowing any Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because honestly, a lot of it's feels really generic sci-fi, and it's not a bad thing in this case. I mean, and also the timeline, is really easy to pick up in if you only just watch the Bane stuff, because it happens between episode 3 and 4. So, and it happens right before not right before, but close to episode.
Yeah. But the costuming though, honestly, sorry, I just think about that too. Yeah. The costuming was super good. I really enjoyed it, and I really thought I was inspired by a lot of it, like to say the least. A lot of it really made me happy, and I wanted to see it. There was a lot of really awesome, just the commoners, the everyday folk with the rack of. So again, we're gonna get back through spoiler stuff. So here we go, guys. We're into it.
Spoilers, surprise.
Like the rack of gloves when the workers are putting that stuff up, and we get to see all the people really coming in from a shift. Like the different gloves, different species, different suits, different mechanical.
I really liked how they kind of stayed on it for a minute, because it's important.
Yeah.
It's the working people of the Star Wars universe.
Yep.
The most impressive to me was actually the tribe casting was from. You could instantly see, without even seeing rest of the planet, that the history of their clothes where they modified it with what they found that's left over, and you could tell that what they had until you got the idea when they kind of went further into the planet,
Mm-hmm.
but that the uniforms that they repurposed into their clothes, and I thought that was pretty interesting that you instantly could start seeing the history of each one of these children that
Right.
had the costume design, and I think that's pretty telling.
I like how they're peppering that backstory in. It just feels really like
Mm-hmm.
it's so intriguing. I want to know what happened to this planet.
Well, it's
Because they
even
were
better because
abandoned.
it's the Republic.
Yeah, they were abandoned by the Republic.
It's not like this is some imperial or separatist. It's not the bad guys who did this. The Republic came in, mined the hell out of this planet, and then something apparently happened, and then they just never came back.
I typically hate when they force a lot of backstories, and that feels weird sometimes when they push that
Mm-hmm.
kind of backstory where it's like almost we're supposed everything else is sci-fi, but except this
Yeah.
is not. But it's not bad. I actually enjoyed it. I got a heavy Lost Boys vibe from it,
Yeah.
but I liked it. The different things about him. Um, Honestly, I wanted more, which is it's
Mm.
not my cup of tea, and I think it's weird in a Star Wars movie, but it wasn't. Um,
Because I don't think it's being so well done. It's well
Mm-hmm.
paced. They have enough of the backstory coming in, but they have enough of the other story being driven forward. So I think that really helps it.
I think it'll also help just in a general stance though, because there is She-Hulk, and there is Rings of Power. There's so much other stuff coming
House
out
of
right
the
now.
Dragon.
Yeah, House of the Dragon. A lot of people are kind of being sedated with new shows, so they're not going to be like, oh, we're going to Andor more better, because they just want the third episode to be every single episode. Episode 1 and 2 again is setting up a lot of backstory. It really does put Cassian in a new light because we meet him as Casa, who is from these backflashes, or these to what planet was that? Pelennor, yeah, something like that.
Hold on, let me look it up. Don't
But-
hold me to that.
the most powerful thing about the backstory
Mhm.
is what a lot of shows do that kind of bore you at the backstory is they do a lot of telling of the backstory, and this does a lot of showing.
Mhm.
So you're able to follow along, and they show as the events go on, and they pepper it in
Kanari.
a way that we get a lot of shows now that just tell you this is important, this is
Yeah.
what happened, the character expresses it, this is this way. But a lot of times when we get like major information, we only get subtle name drops, and we get more like scenes, we get more expression from the actors, and I think I really enjoyed that,
Right.
which
No,
is
it-
the show don't tell.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Um.
But at episode 1, um, that that stood out to me was the tribe,
Yeah.
the Lost Boys type tribe. Um, the new antagonist, which was the corporate officer that we saw, including the group he was with. Um, I really like their costumes. Reminded me of the Republic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they were unique in their own
Mhm.
right. I like that it really showed you that that officer was really headstrong, took everything serious. You could see it by his uniform, and he even pointed his
God, he's such a
out.
he's such a blowhard though.
Uniform.
He's awesome, and like this character is great. But
He
God,
wants
you're just
to
like,
prove
oh my
himself to the
gosh.
corporation.
But it proves a great point. Yeah, like you said, it proves how the corporate world in Star Wars is almost a cult. Like it's just as bad as the Empire.
He reminds me of a heavy Empire officer vibe.
Yeah.
He takes his job super serious, super cutthroat. Doesn't matter throwing someone in under the bus if he has to.
I'm just glad we're finally getting to see the corporate side of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it really hasn't been addressed.
The sergeant's pretty cool too, though. The sergeant makes Imperial vibes too.
I think the most interesting thing about it is how that makes it more different than Empire is that the normal people that work they don't take their job super seriously. They're just so casual about it. They're just there to make money, and they're not there to take orders.
Right.
Well, the kind of the vibe I got was that it's corporate towns. like they don't have a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
They're stuck there, or they have something else that happened.
Well, and
that
it's
they
kind of
owe
addressed.
The corporation.
It's addressed a bit in the Darth Bane trilogy, which is not full canon, but that these corporations will do that because then the rent and the food and all the stuff is taxed on and debt onto you, and you work it off, so you pretty much stay there for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You're just a slave forever.
And that's really the vibe I got whenever he was like looking at the people. Were like, well,
Yeah.
it's on the luxury side of stuff, so they know they have a brothel.
Right.
It's illegal, but they have one.
Yeah, they talk about that when the higher up officer is talking about the two that died.
Yeah.
That they were where they shouldn't be. You know, they
Yeah, he gets it. He's immediately like, yeah, I know exactly what happened. Someone with a darker complexion was there, and they mouthed off, and something happened.
And he expressed that, hey, we are trying to stay under the radar of the Empire. They're giving us full autonomy as long as we keep control and we keep the wheel spinning. They let us be in charge of our sector. The problem is this officer is going to get the eye of the Empire with Cassian's help. So
because he wants to prove himself.
Yeah.
And so we get the first episode, we get his main goal, which kind of shifts as we see in third, which is him finding his sister.
Yeah.
His kind of main goal right now. And then we also get the vibe, at least in the first two episodes, and in the third, that he gives the typical Han Solo vibe for a lot of his characters, a troublemaker. He gets trouble real easy. Things don't really pan out always, and he gets favors from people and doesn't always pay them back.
Yeah, but he also has that much more like a gritty vibe because it is almost like, but he doesn't even have a ship. He doesn't have anything to his name.
He's full on ready. I mean, obviously, he's full on ready to kill people for everything.
Oh, man.
Well, he seems like he regrets it, but
heavily.
When it comes down to like a certain point, like he will kill them as long as it keeps him at. Like,
I mean,
I think
he has to have that regret in him
in the moment.
Yeah.
Because he was like, "Oh no, I killed somebody," but then he instantly turns and shoots the guy.
Yeah, he kind of had to because it would.
Yeah, that one was a bit different. Because it's like that. If he didn't have that remorse in him, then he would have just killed Galen in Rogue One.
Yeah, there's some history with him. We know his backstory before the parts that we haven't seen yet. We know he's worked with the Separatists. We see that in episode 2, this planet is full of abandoned mines or abandoned by the Republic. Though one thing that's still unsure is the logo on a lot of those guys.
The insignia.
They're actually the Separatist logo, but the woman, I can't remember her name, expresses that they're Republic officers. That's why he's got to go, because all these kids are going to get killed when they find out they killed public officers.
Just so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to figure out what the logo was. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't recognize this immediately. Also, why are they yellow?
That's a very Separatist design.
This is the species.
I don't recognize it, so I was curious.
Some of the gas almost looks like it was coming from the ship, almost.
Yeah.
That was like the whole reason why the Empire or the Republic abandoned the planet, because of the toxic gas. It's supposed to be
because of the disaster or something.
And so I guess all those kids got left behind, or they survived the gas.
If there really was any, it could have also very well.
They all have the gas mask.
Yeah.
It could have been like it was a disaster in a sense of like something really fucked up happened, and the Republic was like, this is going to cost too much, so we're just going to abandon everything and say it was a like environmental disaster.
Yeah, don't go there. Leave it alone.
They can cover their tracks that way.
And then we found out that Cassian has an Imperial ship.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of a ship. I guess it's a map or something.
Yeah, it's something that can like connect with the other ships and where they are. Some type of a radar system.
And then he has that, and then
it's his big ticket item to get off this rock.
He got to get this mysterious contact, which we first see him in episode 2. Which when we first see him land, that made me interesting. That stood out to me the most. Well, not when we saw him, he carried a cane. It looked like a force pike almost.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it looked either like a saber, like it had that weird like.
But it has almost it looks a lot like a force pike, and then he puts it away in his
Yeah,
jacket.
I thought it was a force spike at first, and then he retracts it, and I'm like, this thing is gotta be pretty cool.
Right.
Especially since
I can't wait to see him use
like
it.
his main weapon. And he doesn't walk with it like a cane. I don't know if you noticed. Everywhere he walks, he holds it almost like a weapon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's very defensive when he carries the thing.
Do we know anything about him?
Him in particular, I don't.
Okay.
I haven't looked his character up yet. I don't remember him before. Yeah. I'm sure he's gonna. If he's not new, I'm sure he plays a major role in the early Rebels.
I'm just excited for Skarsgård playing him.
I'm just like excited for the rest of this, the whole rest of this, because so as the gun ho, try hard guy does what he does best and continues to try hard and do good. They eventually get a team together. Who I gotta say, those guards look cool. I would cosplay one of those guards.
They definitely look like company men.
They look like company security guards, but it's a cool vibe. Company militarism.
One thing that I thought was interesting that it took me back when they do get together to go, capture it.
Yeah.
They make this big speech. The sergeant does a really good job. First off, the sergeant is such a good hype man.
Yeah.
Every time the young officer, I can't remember his name, doubts or gets worried, the dude's like, "No, we got this." And, he's like, "You should totally. This is totally important. Don't doubt yourself. We gotta take this stuff seriously. If you don't," and he gives them kind of that idea of like, it gives them a way to overthrow a superior officer. Like, you should be reprimanded, and they're like, "Hey, we need to do this." And then they do the speech. He does an awesome speech, and then this officer, he's like, "It's your turn," and he totally fumbles, which is funny because you see at the first episode that this guy has ambitions to lead. He changes uniform. He wants to be in charge. But when he gets put in the spot, he can't. He gets too scared.
Right. Oh, yeah. He immediately, yeah.
And he's so headstrong in getting into action that there's this big threat that he wants to react to.
Mm-hmm.
But when he gets put into action, he fumbles. He gets too scared, and he can't. He freezes all the time, and he's afraid to run into action. Doesn't know what to do. So he has the dreams of being, this awesome officer that's leading in the battle. But when it comes to it, when he finally gets the chance to do it, he can't.
Yeah, he just can't. He can't produce it.
I think he has more dreams of being like higher up in the company and making more of an impact within that, like being whatever manager level that is above him or something. But also, I wanted to point out the guards, they feel like they weren't good enough to become stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Or they had something else going on.
It's like a
got real aggressive.
The team they picked out for, I'm surprised they actually took some of it seriously. They don't really follow orders very well.
Exactly.
And they were very heavy-handed, which
why would they attack the girl? She was not on any of their list, and
she
just
was running, so they thought she might know something, or
it didn't.
I mean, I thought the whole city was gonna like come down on him when they shot the dude. I was expecting way more, but
I thought was that, and you getting into the city reaction, the banging.
Oh, the noise, yeah. What is that? Intimidation, Sam. Don't worry about it. Well, of course, the sergeant has that gruff accent.
From the woman that I wrote down, because I thought was pretty powerful. She said 2 lines. When it's that's what reckoning sounds like.
Oh yeah.
And then later she responds, "When it stops is really when you want to start to fret," because the guy was kind of getting nervous. He's like, "No, don't get nervous now. Is when the banging stops is when you need to worry."
Right.
Yeah, because when you get so used to hearing it, and then if you hear it stop, you're like, "Wait, where'd everybody go?"
And it's great cinematography, because at that moment, that's when Cassian sneaks up on, of course, the gun-ho, horrible, shaking in his boots officer.
It's like, I'm just an officer.
As a watcher, it does give you that kind of anticipation build up. You know something's about to happen. I was kind of disappointed. I was expecting more. I thought maybe there'd be like some of the people would resist, but the only thing we saw any kind of resistance, which I'm assuming was Cassian's buddy that did it, when he got off the ship.
Yeah.
which was really smart, by the way.
That was awesome. That was really cool.
Cassian was gonna steal the ship, then that would have been he would have killed Cassian.
I think the people were probably too scared because this was a corporation group coming in. They're in a corporate town. They don't know why the guy's there really.
Yeah.
All they know is they're looking for somebody.
And the other guy's name is Luthen Rawl. That is the sorcerer name, Luthen Rawl.
Okay.
And you also don't really want to react too crazily because the more you react, the more you're gonna get the Empire's ire.
Yeah.
Well, that or more corporate goons coming in and then raising your prices on stuff, because that's something else you got to think about. They live here. They don't have a choice. They're working for the corporation. They're paying for everything, and they have to do stuff, or they're going to lose those bonuses that they get with like going to the leisure area or anything.
Yeah.
Well, also, the company also is gonna not get as much when the Empire takes over. They're gonna probably pull more resources from that company because they're gonna want funding.
I think it would take a lot more to get the Empire involved for that. If it were just civilians
honestly,
rebelling.
I think now there's plenty.
No.
Of reason.
No.
The Empire loves to glass a planet.
Well, okay, not in that sense. With the corporation. Like, they're rebelling within the corporation. They're not rebelling against the Empire. Just against the corporation.
No, Palpatine doesn't play that game.
Okay.
No, I
Palpatine has destroyed... No, Palpatine has literally bought entire corporations just to burn them to the ground to then take, like, all of their workforce into slavery, pretty much.
At this point in the Empire,
it's Palpatine.
It's more of just conquer and control.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think he really cares. And at this point, I don't think he cares about how the corporation is acting. I think what has happened gives them enough ground for the Empire, and I'm sure the next episode we'll see the Empire.
Oh, the Empire's coming. Yeah, the Empire's definitely coming.
The Empire,
they have to.
Is that there's going to be plenty of reports and speculation that's going to go out. I mean, the biggest thing that's going to get the Empire's attention is the stolen box, because they're going to find that. That's going to huge red flags. So they're going to think some kind of, hey, there's people starting, there's some kind of anti-force.
Someone has stolen something
from the Empire. That's why I think the Empire will get involved.
Oh, 100%.
Because of the box.
Yeah.
Not because of the people, not because of them having a little
I can agree with that.
And that's why I think they're getting involved.
The problem.
That box.
Is also gonna. I think the engagement's gonna catch their attention at first because.
Well, they like a scapegoat. The Empire likes to have a scapegoat. They've realized, that you guys had what box? There was what there? Okay. Oh, also because of this uprising, the Empire is now taking season holds of all of your assets.
Yep.
I think the uprising's gonna get their attention, and when they show up, they're gonna find the box, and then it's gonna get worse. Because the two things that really stood out that's gonna catch the Empire's attention is the deaths, the sergeant claiming that they were under siege.
Yeah.
So in his mind, they had an army attacking them.
Right.
Dude, he really thought they were surrounded.
And he still sees it that way.
Yeah.
So they're going to report, hey, we were under attack by an army. Not
right.
only do I prove that we're attacked by an army, we lost most of our men, there was explosives, and we even lost a ship that was destroyed.
Right.
So that's going to be reported out to when the report gets seen by the Empire. They're going to be like, hey, they lost full control.
Yeah.
This is what we needed to take control of this corporation. Originally, we had to keep ties with them in a certain way because they're Republic, but now we have full reason to go in and take control.
Yeah.
So, which we see in the trailer, I'm sure, with all the troopers, I'm sure that's what's going to happen next episode.
Well, they're really, of course,
pointing fingers.
I'm sure there will be some fun conversation between Cassian and Rail. But at the same time, he's going to need something to really push him into wanting to be a rebel and give his whole life for this like he talks about doing. So I imagine that's probably going to end up being like the people back on this planet are killed by the Empire. He can't save them. And then that pushes him into like, no, I'm going to do everything to destroy the Empire now.
Yeah, the people that are going to be important to him, I'm sure the woman that's basically his mother now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that she's going to be probably interrogated by the Empire. They're going to tell because the men that were in charge of her are going to pass it along.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and also they know who he is, so she's going to get, captured or killed, and that's probably going to send him more encouragement. I don't know, maybe that woman might help out eventually since she lost her boyfriend. and she's probably upset about it.
Yeah, Jess
But
says if the
speaking of
droid gets hurt, she's gonna riot.
but speaking of the boyfriend, one thing I noticed and pointed out, it's just funny. He does get killed.
Yeah.
Um, you know what's funny? Everything that led to his death is actually his fault.
Oh yeah,
Um,
everything, all of
the
it.
fact that all this happened in the first place was because he told them that Cassian was
Yep.
there. If he kept his mouth
He was
shut,
so. He's like, she's cheating on me. Instead of talking to her, and then, boom, got shot right in the chest. He did.
yeah, and they were there hassling her thanks to his fault, and
Yeah.
so he wanted to get involved, which was dumb. Got shot. I mean, he could have gotten involved, but the way he did it
Yeah.
was not very smart. So we saw his demise. Annoying character, but that was his role. So
I don't know. Who knows? I could also see it though, where she could probably join Cassian because she'll be like, well, I mean, look what they already did. Like, I'm done with this place.
that's
He's
what I'm
dead.
saying. At what's happened, I have a feeling that she's going to maybe start something.
Mm-hmm.
We see so many faces that Cassian knows. I don't think we'll see the end of them.
Yeah.
He has enough there to form his own team now. He's got her, the mechanic.
True.
He's got his mining buddy. He's got that one guy that he owes monies to, and the big
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
I hope we don't see the end of those two. Those two were pretty funny.
Right. And that's the thing with I really enjoy with this is the humor does not feel forced, but I also enjoy that it's not just one character controlling all the humor. It's just normal kind of daily humor things throughout the episodes.
One thing that I thought was pretty humorous was one of the droids that mostly got overlooked. When we saw the shuttle land, there was a droid that's entire job was to be stairs.
Yeah.
It was a stair droid.
Yeah, I saw him. I was really thinking about the Rick and Morty thing. I was like, what is my purpose in life? You are stairs. Oh, dear. I just think that's so amazing.
And we saw some new design. One of my favorite weapons that were in the show that actually wasn't a standard weapon. The kids' weapon. The only reason I liked it because it's so unique that we don't really see that much in Star Wars, which was the repurposed pipes that were staffs, but they were blow darts.
Yeah,
those were really cool.
I thought they were just staffs that they were using. I was like, yeah,
man, that one guy got peppered.
Darts.
That poor dude, that poor first guy, or I guess, well, I mean, not poor him, he shot the other girl, but like, boy, he got lit up with some little darts. That probably hurt a lot.
Also, what did they have it dipped in? Was it a neurotoxin or just like a light poison? Is that
Who
why
knows?
it took them a while?
Yeah, it took a little bit.
Either that, or they just didn't have any poison. The dude just got shot until he got shot somewhere that killed him.
And after seeing that, though, they didn't grab the pistol, which makes me think, like, all right, come on. What the fuck? Grab the pistol. You're a bunch of primitive kids.
Unless some of them are so young that they don't know much about the weapons.
They probably don't, but hey, bro, I mean, you want to talk about easy hunting? Pew!
Yeah, I mean, most of them, I mean, they all don't die because his sister's alive, but I'm sure...
I feel like they either get sold into slavery or something else happens when the Republic shows up.
Yeah, it won't be good stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like, some of them are probably going to die.
One of them, they become Jedi.
Because,
and then we see a Jedi because there has to be a lightsaber.
I was just telling him at the start of all this, I don't think we're going to see a lightsaber.
If we see any lightsabers, it's only going to be a red one. That's it.
Well, I think we will see something, and then I'll get into that when we start talking about some of the hidden stuff. Unless you want to start going on that now that I noticed. I told you some of them. I don't know if you actually looked when. Did you end up rewatching it?
I didn't have the time to, but it's also good in my head. But I know. All right. What about this? What if this is how we see Quinlan Voss?
I mean that or Cal.
Or Cal Kestis.
If I see red hair, I'm just gonna freak out.
Be so cool.
Because he is around at this time.
Sorry, audio listeners, for me spiking your headphones.
It would be interesting. Honestly, if we saw Cal, he probably wouldn't be too much of a Jedi. He'd probably be hiding it right now.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, it would be kind of like him and his poncho just showing up to help with something.
Fun little, just like.
I mean, if anything, Hera might make an appearance because the rebellion stuff is starting. Because this is the same time that Rebels is taking place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the other thing. They could take a quick journey with like the Ghost. Maybe we get to see a live action.
Maybe we get to see everybody
the
before
whole crew
Ahsoka.
live action, and then bam, we're all like, what the?
And then then we get Jedi because we get.
But then Cassian needs to go back to get the droid because I want to see Chopper and that droid meet up.
Oh, dude, that'd be so.
B2 is my new second favorite. Chopper's
like,
my first, and I just love his name.
A funny. Oh, he reminds me of Wally combined with the.
Yeah, well, and it helps because he can actually speak.
He talks.
What's that droid called? Trying to think. There's a series where there's a droid that's really depressed, and it kind of reminds me of that one.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, reminds you of the Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oh yeah.
They have a droid.
He's literally programmed to be depressed.
He's like every function he has takes power, and he keeps dying. He's like, I need you to lie for me. Oh, that's gonna take a lot of power. And he's like, well, this and this. Well, that's 2 lies. I'm gonna have to go home.
But I love his name. It's B2 Emo.
Yeah, he everything's super drains a lot of power, and he hides all the time.
Yeah, he seems to have like a busted power converter or something because he's always just like glitching out.
He looks like an old droid.
Yeah, he looks pretty old. He's banged up, that's for sure. He's been on adventures with that lady.
New with when she shows up, but we've never seen a droid like that, which I don't complain about. It's very interesting.
I like the treads and like the four legs.
What generation he's from.
Yeah, it'd be really
interesting. What if he's one of like old High Republic one that's been kind of fixed a little bit?
I'll lose my schnit.
He reminds me of the medical droids a little bit. They have the tall medical droids.
Oh, okay.
I like how he like goes into a shell, and then
he's like armored. That's the one thing. It's like an armored droid. So what exactly is that going to entail? Like, why does he have this armored casing? Is it like an anti-bomb disposal?
Is it old astromech?
Him and K2 eventually are going to have to meet, I think.
Ooh, that's right.
He should show up. He's shown up as the
captain.
So, I mean, it's going to be
Alan Tudyk reprising his great role as K2SO as the amazing actor. Also, the chicken from Moana.
I honestly don't think we'll see him much until season
with somebody else.
Because season 2 is supposed to cover more of the later part of Cassian's.
Yeah.
Closer to Rogue One, so I don't think we'll see much of K2 in season 1, if at all. But we are for sure going to see him again.
I could see that being like the season 1 like finale. He's like over K2SO after he's been like dead bolted or something, or like completely fried, and he's trying to restart him.
What if B2 helps him?
Oh, what if B2?
That's why he has more of a personality. What if it's part B2?
What if? Yeah. Ooh.
What if he was B2? What if that's
yeah. What if that is? Yeah.
That would explain why.
Because he also sounds very different than the other. Because when you in the Fallen Order game, when you see the other guard droids of that model, they do not sound like him.
B2 yet?
They do not sound like him. I don't know.
I'm gonna look this up.
I love his lines in Rogue One. It's so funny.
Yeah. Okay, Teresa was so amazing. Yeah, and has like that really awesome ultimate sacrifice in the end and stuff. So good.
I could see that now that
Excuse
we
me.
say that.
He has been credited.
Probably does get destroyed.
Dave Chapman, yeah. Well, I think the series is definitely gonna like just continue on the up and up. There might be some like plateaus, but it's not like, to me it's just filling in new story. And this is a time frame that we've never gotten to see like this gritty of a place before. Like, Rebels is a great series, and we highly recommend you watch Rebels if you haven't.
If you haven't watched Rebels, what are you even doing?
Watching this and then gonna go watch Rebels.
There's a storyline that they're almost reprising with Andor.
Yeah.
With Cassian, because it was a really good storyline which covers Kyle Katarn, and he is basically a spy. And you see a lot of mirror with him. One of the Easter egg, one of the hidden things that the Cassian's blaster, which he gets from one of his kidnappers, is that blaster is actually that blaster was originally the signature blaster of is the signature blaster of Kyle Katarn, which was
Yeah.
when originally Kyle Katarn was originally the main character of the 1995 Dark Forces, which is a series of games that came out where he eventually becomes a Jedi. Cassian doesn't become a Jedi, of course, but and then Cassian and Kyle Katarn have a lot of similarities in the character.
Yeah.
Which Kyle Katarn.
That's a cool looking gun. Honestly, I might need to get a prop one of those bad boys printed up.
The Kyle Katarn was originally in the Legends that stole the Death Star plans. So
okay. Oh, that's really cool homage. Then yeah.
So we see that with the blaster. We also see that mentioned with the planet that they talk about. They mentioned the planet Fest, which now is a rebel headquarter base. But originally in Legends, it was an Imperial base that was a level on the Dark Forces. It was like the fourth level. It was all these like high mountains.
And hey,
really
if you guys be interested in watching us stream that with Mike, and he can just give us some interesting facts while I ask a lot of questions. I've played Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, but I have not played the earlier Jedi Knight games. So yeah, let us know in the comments if you'd be interested in that.
All the Jedi Knight games and the early, because there's a whole series with Kyle Katarn, and he originally was basically an old Andor back in the 90s when all this was coming out. Like I said, he originally stole the Death Star plans, the first Death Star plans. He carried the same blaster, really a roguish Han Solo type character.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting they played homage to that with the blaster. We see other hidden things. We see some the other things they take. They also do the calf, which is an old Star Wars.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that they finally actually mentioned it.
It full on said it and everything.
Also, I saw
that
great. There was unofficially like, oh look, they slept together, and then here's the morning after.
And she's wearing underwear, so there is now underwear in Star Wars.
Was
Carrie
she?
Fisher,
Yeah,
we're sorry, Carrie Fisher, but there's now underwear.
Was she? Because it didn't look like
she was wearing panties.
Didn't look like it. Okay.
Yes, she was.
Don't worry.
It's a guy.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
We're guys, we were looking. But yeah, I didn't catch that one. We finally made underwear canon. And
yeah.
The metal bikini. Take that, George.
Poor Carrie.
Yep. Poor Carrie. Had to wear electrical tape over her nipples.
Another awesome acknowledgement by them is the addition of acknowledging BBY. We've seen it a couple novels, but originally BBY, at the very beginning, they show the year, and it's just 5 BBY, which is the fans' invention of kind of making a chronological year system to kind of put things in perspective of when events happen.
Yeah.
And BBY stands for the battle before the Battle of Yavin. And so to see them actually recognize as maybe the universe does use the Battle of Yavin around this time as the kind of like during at least the Civil War time frame, and you get kind of where the perspective of when things happen.
Yeah.
Well, because like there's not really been any established like year or anything, so it's like we don't have a real knowledge of what they think the time is.
Right.
Because you have the Old Republic, New Republic, the High Republic. Like what events do they use? What calendar system do they use? Because it's a big universe or big galaxy.
Well, and that's the main reason why they probably don't try to specialize like one specific one.
Yeah.
I like that they acknowledge the fans' invention of it, which it works.
It tells us exactly when something is.
Because that's the first question we're all going to ask. When is this taking place?
They currently wouldn't use it because they haven't had the Battle of Yavin, but in the future, they would. That we could assume they use that now.
Or it's like an anthology kind of thing.
Some of the other hidden things I noticed, there was a shipyard shown early. We see 2 similar ships. We see a Y-wing and another transport we've seen before, but the big one that stood out was there is a ship. It's the same ship. I mean, we don't know if it's the same. It's the same model. is a ship we see in the new sequels. The mainly stands out. This is Rise of
Nice.
Skywalker. It's the ship of a Sith assassin named Ochia Bastoon. He's the guy with the dagger that has the map to the temple. Um, so that's interesting. We get to see a Sith assassin ship. I doubt we'll see him. Um,
He's
Like
all
that.
over the Darth Vader comics with taking down Crimson Dawn and early Rebellion cells. So honestly, like we really could see
I
Ochia
guess we
Bastoon
could.
though. We could.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of a fun little thing to drop down because he's real big in the Vader comics. So
We also do hear the mention of the planet Wabani in episode one. It
mhm.
just mentioned and the name dropped very beginning. Um, that planet's important because that's actually the first location in Rogue One where we see Jyn Erso at the labor camp. So I don't know if we'll be going to the labor camp.
You are
Um,
being rescued. Do not resist.
we
He's back.
also get um, we get the fest, we get the blaster, and then we also yeah, I mean those are the main ones that stood out to me.
Yeah,
I mean, and also I noticed I'll show it. I noticed they had a prop that I have similar to, which is the lantern
I need to
that
get
he
one of
walks
those for
around
my
in
Mando.
his ship with. They basically took one of these, but it's so sci-fi looking, so I don't blame them.
Yeah,
But yeah, um, that's basically what he uses in the show, and then it's one of these things. So it's cool. Like maybe we might try to take pictures and try to like make it match the show.
yeah, exactly. Take
So
some
yeah,
still frames. I was
um,
honestly I was pleasantly surprised. The first by the middle of the second episode, I wouldn't say I was worried, but I was sitting there like, oh man, we're gonna have to slog through this.
I
It's
didn't get
gonna
that
be
image though.
just backstory, and that's just me. It's
I
just me
didn't
though.
feel that.
And then we got into episode 3, and boy was I like, okay, whoa, damn, everything's blowing up. It's all of a sudden turned into a 1980s movie, which I
I know.
love. It
It's that
changes
real
tempo.
pace.
It changes tempo, I think, at the exactly correct time.
Yeah.
I think that the Andor series is really showing a extremely different view, both cinematically, um, speed, and everything for Star Wars, than being this huge episodic, like depending on itself, Epic of Gilgamesh style. This is a very just like low, down to earth, legitimate spy film or show, and they do an amazing job of really connecting the characters to each other, and then me to the show, and I feel like connecting everyone to the show.
Because that's one thing I was going into this prepared for. This is not going to be in very action. It doesn't feel like how they were marketing it. It's not supposed to be
Mhm.
action packed. It's not supposed to be explosions every week. It's going to be more
Suspense.
suspense.
Yeah.
Uh, what is the word?
It's well, like it's a thriller.
Intrigues, intrigue, political intrigue.
I think the best thing about it is right now we have a heavy hand on a fantasy magical vibe with everything.
Mm,
So for Star Wars to take a step back and do something totally different gives more variety to what we have watching right now. I mean, we already have two major fantasy shows, and Star Wars can easily go into a sci-fi fantasy
yeah.
because they do it all the time. But the fact that we don't get that makes things a lot more tasteful. Doesn't feel like you know. Sometimes when you watch the two fantasy shows, you like, well, it almost feels like they get a little too much, almost a little bit of a mirroring in some instances.
Right.
But we have something completely different. We also have when a timeline where it's easy to use the stormtroopers and the Empire as the main bad guys right now, but they don't, and I think that really helps. We also get to see um, with the corporate,
Mm,
which is we don't get to see a lot of it in the movies, and I love that. I love when it's not just more than just the Huts and the
right.
Empire. We just some corporate guys, and it's heavy on. It reminds me so much of the cyberpunk universe.
Yeah.
Just the planet that they was at, heavily reminds you of the cyberpunk universe.
It really does.
Um,
Yeah, that was one of the first things I said. I'm like, oh gosh, we get to see more of a corporate side of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And that's gonna show off a lot of that. There will be like a lot of like, it's like oh man. I think there's gonna be a lot of like dark tunnels and sneaking around, but there's gonna be a lot of explosions and like sabotage. And,
I hope we
I'm
get
just
to see more
excited to see where the Senate.
corporate planet that we saw, because it was so unique for us that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Because we've seen corporate type stuff before, but this was very unique, and I really enjoyed it. I hope we get to see more of it. I'd hate that we only get to see the few scenes of it.
It's gonna be really awesome when we get to see Mon Mothma. That's gonna be really awesome.
One thing I saw pointed out, how old is Leia right now? She's right at the perfect age to be a junior senator. So we could potentially see junior Senator Leia.
I mean, she's already involved with the building up
really
rebellion
cool
in a way. So,
yeah.
And then I believe I don't remember if she has connections to Mon Mothma yet. I think she does. Which they did say that some of the Mon Mothma later in the season. I don't know if it's this season or the next. We're gonna see a lot of her as a focus.
Yeah.
So.
It would make sense to even show her because she would be starting to get involved with the rebellion stuff.
I mean, she is kind of the main leader of the rebels, so we got to see why she's the leader.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I think she's gonna really pull together the rebellion too. He and these other powder keg people that are like explosive and really charismatic are going to be the beginnings of the rebellion. But when it's going to be Mon Mothma and all of them coming together, Hera and all this kind of stuff, that's really going to start cementing a full one.
We have people like that, like Saw Gerrera leading. They're not the best.
Right.
They're too hungry.
They're good at guerrilla warfare.
Cassian's great, but he's not the one you want to lead. You're going to get more people hurt that way.
They're good in the field. They're not good behind the scenes.
Yeah. And
you need those kind of people when you.
You absolutely need both sides. You can't have one without the other. But excuse me.
But man, Saw Gerrera takes it to a whole nother level though. Yeah, Saw Gerrera makes everyone just like cringe. No one in the rebellion wants to work with Saw. If you do, they're just like, I don't know if I trust your mentality.
He's so just. I gotta get it done. I don't care the cost. I don't care if I kill half these people. But they're the people you're fighting for. Doesn't matter.
That's the major issue there, is the fact that then it makes it a thing of he becomes the monster he's trying to defeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's a big part of that. Someone's moving out.
Oh, okay.
He didn't have his Uncle Owen to
Exactly. Yeah, he didn't have someone to really like confide in and stuff. And because for some reason he always chooses like the most hardest missions, he has to have that guerrilla tactic because he's only got like 12 dudes trying to take down a huge fortress or something.
And also, I mean, we talk bad about him, but as a character, I really like him in the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
Yeah,
great character.
Adds realism. Some people are gonna hate the Empire, what they've done. They're going to go all out extreme on it.
Yeah. 100%. And Forrest Whitaker does an amazing job playing Saw Gerrera. An absolutely great character.
We have to see him in this, so I'm excited to see him again. He's in a lot of things.
Oh yeah, he is. He's in a whole bunch of stuff.
He's in Clone Wars. He's in Rebels. He's in Rogue One.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm missing another somewhere else he's on. He's in a lot.
I don't think you can do anything Rebels without showing Saw.
Yeah, he's a really big part of it.
He's one of the first people to really be a rebel.
Because he was
think of this: if the beginning of the Andor series is set towards the beginning of Rebels, then more than likely there needs to be a big time jump coming up if Saw's going to look the way he does. Because in Rebels, remember, Saw is much younger.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see where he lost some of his.
And he's got cool armor. Because I'll give him that too. He's got very unique and very cool armor.
I mean, this is all taking place in 5 BBY.
Yeah.
So that's only 5 years. So.
Maybe you'll see.
Or maybe I'm thinking more of Clone Wars.
I think you're thinking Clone Wars.
Yeah. Well, we also
Or Bad
One
Batch.
thing that I would like
Maybe,
to
I
see
don't know.
of is, since it is such a big transition
Mm-hmm.
now from the Empire, we still have these planets that were still part of the Separatists.
Yeah,
I
true.
would like to see some Separatists joining the Rebel Alliance. It would make sense why they would want to join the Rebel Alliance in this. Because not all people that were joining the Separatists were just to join to be a part of the
Right.
Sith or to be a part of, the master plan. They just didn't want to be part of the Republic, and so it would make sense for them to like, hey, the Empire is just the Republic but worse. Why would we?
Right. Hey, maybe we get to see Sereno again. Because Count Dooku's people have no love for the Republic or the Empire.
So
That'd
I
be
would like to see
interesting.
some of the Separatist groups kind of convert over to
Mm-hmm.
the Rebel Alliance. Just because you're a Separatist doesn't necessarily mean you were the bad guys.
Too bad they couldn't get their hands on any of the B1 battle droids. Turn the tide a little bit. A couple fleets.
Yeah, that would do some damage.
I would have changed a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are we looking forward to?
I'm looking. That's a good question. What are we looking forward to? I would say I'm looking the most forward to fleshing out the beginning of the rebellion. I really do want to see how it really came to fruition and how it like really was birthed. But also, other than that, I am also really just looking forward to watching Cassian become more of his own and take a bit more charge. Mike, what are you looking forward to?
There's a couple things I'm looking forward to see the spy thriller that
Mhm.
we're expecting to see. I'm sure we'll get most of it probably in season 2 when he starts coming in on his own. Meeting K2 and some of the other origins of him. And other thing I'm excited for is to hear more about. I mean, we've seen the trailers with the troopers in clone armor. Are these clones or are these stormtroopers? And
Oh yeah.
they haven't upgraded the armor yet. They're just using leftover. I mean, it's one size, so they. I mean, you would look kind of silly because you get stormtroopers that had tiny armor plates that were too big, or the helmets look too big.
A little too
Stuff like
stretched
that.
out, too squat.
And if they are still using clones, what's the deal? I mean, we'll
Where did
probably
they get
find
'em?
more about that, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, second season of Bad Batch, but I mean, we get some more answers through this show.
And that's another part. This is all going to tie together, I think, in a really cool way. Maybe hey, what if we get live action Bad Batch? Hey, that'd make everyone go absolutely
that would literally
nuts.
break the internet.
That would break everything. If we also, it's like one of them, like there's just like tech in the background.
Well, this is a
That would
bit
just break
later, so
everybody.
they definitely would be a lot different. I mean, they
Yeah.
look different in the season 2 trailer. We see them they get like yellow and stuff.
Right, they've painted all their armor up and stuff.
Yeah, because
So
they're very
they would look
recognizable.
way different. And
By
then
now,
also,
yeah. Omega.
Omega would look way different.
That's how you
Should
get
be-
grown up
should be
Omega.
older.
That's how we get grown up Omega. Right there, man. That's how it happens.
I just want her and Boba to meet.
I would love her, Boba and Omega to meet up.
I want her to find out that she's. I'm not gonna say Jedi, and her and Ahsoka, and she.
Oh, yeah.
That would be fun.
What do you guys do? You think there will be any Jedi in Andor? I think it's only going to be
I don't
Vader.
think so.
I doubt it. I don't. I think they're trying to avoid that. I
Mhm.
mean, you just got a lot of Jedi with Obi-Wan.
I would like
See,
to
I could
not
see a
even
Vader episode though. I would like it, but in the sense of like an aliens kind of vibe, where it's like it's Cassian hiding from Vader. Because what the hell's he gonna do?
Right.
He can't beat Vader, so it's literally just like trying to like just outsmart and run from him, and he's only
Or-
seen in like a few like brief moments.
Yeah, like a quick little like this is the guy we want to watch out for or something.
Yeah,
I don't want there to be any of them because I like the idea of everybody trying to do this without the Force.
but you really
Without,
can't,
like,
and
knowing
it's like,
they're using it.
and I can't blame him because you can't have
Except
Vader
the,
either, because Vader can just like walk by someone and be like, I sense him. There he is.
Well,
Yeah.
Except the guy that uses the Force, the blind guy.
Mhm.
If we get to see him, that's fine.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cheer it, Imwe.
Because I don't want to see them relying on it. I like this idea that everybody's trying to set up the rebellion
Mhm.
without
Yeah.
actually using it.
Right, in the first like real rebel.
They're all in hiding right now. They're all trying
Yeah.
to be hidden. Because if they use the Force, they'll attract the Inquisitor's attention. And then
Exactly.
you just get Obi-Wan 1.2.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I think we won't see much of it, because we already get the vibe of Hidden Jedi and the Inquisitors with Obi-Wan. I don't see that they would mesh that into this show. I think they're trying to keep. This is the birth of the Rebel Alliance.
Agreed. I 100% agree with that. I'm really excited about this. I look forward. This is not. Well, I wouldn't say it's my least excited one I'm waiting for, but this will be really fun to watch to tie the time over until we get to the other later series.
When does Tales come out?
Fall. I don't really exactly know.
It's fall now.
Yeah, true. Very good point. Very good point.
Once we get the second, one thing I look forward to doing is once we get that second season.
Yeah.
To watch the first and second season and then Rogue One and see how it all comes together.
That's something else. I need to do another rewatch of Rogue One. October 26th is Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, that's close. That's a month out.
That's gonna have so much fun stuff in it.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun to talk about. I'm so excited.
I would love to do blind watches or whatever. Just
we can do watch parties. It's just people do watch parties. Yeah. It happens. But again, let us know in the comments if that's what you'd like to do. Let us know what your favorite part of Andor was and what you think it's going to happen in the future of it, especially your guesses on big reveals. Let us know what you guys think about that.
We can definitely do breakdown videos for each episode.
Yeah, we can try and get into that. You'll probably start seeing a lot more of Jess in my Dex and Download videos as we talk about a lot of the other things from the Andor series, comics, and stuff like that. We will definitely be a bit better with the live stream next time. Get things figured out. Scheduled a bit better. Yeah, first time doing it. First time's always rocky. But I'm happy we did it our first time now. Thank you for the 4 people that stopped by to, at least give us a good little view ski. I love you all so much. This has been a lot of fun, and we'll definitely do a lot better at it. Andor is going to be really good, and I think it's going to really help the community. I think it's not so divisive that it's going to, people are going to split over it. Although I say that, and people are going to...
There's going to be a
people reason. Are going to get upset, but it's whatever. I'll probably watch a few other people's reactions and see a few others' opinions, and then we'll give our own. So look forward to those videos coming out here soon. And definitely get ready. Next week, again, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, every Friday, we will have the podcast out and waiting for you, if not just about a few minutes late. So as I will always say, may the Force serve you well.
May the Force